Congratulations.
I was inspired to become a teacher because teaching is my passion. The gift of seeing them learn just really warms my heart. At the end of the year, seeing how much they have learned, it's inspiring. You know, they're reading books when they leave kindergarten. They're adding, they're subtracting, they can tell time to the hour and half hour. And so that is just very joyful for me. So I go to bed thinking about my students. I wake up thinking about my students. The love that I'm able to give my students, you know, it's rewarding to me because so many students come to school, you know, not having that person to tell them that they love them or that you can do it, you know, to be an inspiration to them. And just for me to be able to see them grow and know that they depend on me, you know. And if for some reason I'm out for a day at work, you know, when I come back, they're hugging me. They just, they're smiling and they tell me, you know, Miss Coates, I miss you. Miss Coates, don't leave us again, you know. And I have so many students that come back to Kosciuszko Lower Elementary that have graduated high school, that have graduated college, and they thank me, you know. And so to me, I'm like, oh, I matter just like they matter to me, you know. And I have students now that are 30 years old and they keep in touch with me to let me know that this is what's going on in my life. And so I think that, you know, my students, they bring joy to me, and they mean the world to me. Being a teacher has helped me in so many ways as a person, with my relationship with the Lord. And I think that, you know, being a teacher is my calling. And I want to tell this little story. I did not want to be a kindergarten teacher because I felt like kindergarten students were too needy. And so when I interviewed to come to Kosciuszko to teach, I had an option, first grade or kindergarten. And so of course I told Dr. Nowell, please put me in first grade. I don't want to be in kindergarten because they're too needy. Well, of course, she put me in kindergarten. And I have been in kindergarten for 18 years. And I am so glad that that is where the Lord placed me, because I just enjoy seeing the growth. I enjoy helping the kids, and those needy kids. It took me a while, but I realized they need me, and I need them just as much as they need me. So I am just very blessed to be a kindergarten teacher, and I love my students and I love my job.
This is why you called him.
Congratulations, well deserved. I need your eyeballs.
Alright, everybody listen to Miss Terry.
Really have to say my sons, probably, because I started a little late in life and I was having to help them. They were starting school and I was helping them, and I got to wanting to have the same hours as them. So simple things like that, but ended up getting myself into the school system and absolutely loved it. So once I got into the school system, that's when I made up my mind that teaching was a pretty cool profession and that I might might could accomplish it. I might could do okay with it, and had some great mentor teachers that inspired me to go back to school and finish and all of those things. So I guess I would have to say my sons were the most inspirational to me, just, helping me to see that I could accomplish this, even though I was a little older when I started. But after doing all that, of course, you get in the school system and you have those moments with the kids and you realize that, hey, this is a profession that matters. This is a profession that you can make a difference in. So the students are the most rewarding. You go to work and each day is a new day, each year is a new year. No two are the same, nothing is ever the same. So there's a challenge in every day, and there's a happy moment or an unexpected, I guess I should say, in every day. So that to me is one of the most rewarding things there is. And of course, then there's those students that you teach and you've made some kind of impact on their life, and they come back to you years later and they tell you something that happened in your room that you forgot completely about, but that they remembered. And man, does that aha moment just stick with you, or that special moment that you can carry with you. Or even a parent, for that matter, comes back and says, well, we appreciate what you've done. So all of those things, there's so many rewards. I could list rewards all day for being a teacher, but that would be the main thing. I mean, just having those kids, look up to you, confide in you, you're making a difference on their life, knowing that you've changed something. Seeing them smile and knowing they're happy to be here, and knowing and are telling you they missed you when you were gone on Christmas vacation or Thanksgiving vacation. I can't wait to get back to see you. Those kinds of things that just makes it takes teaching to a whole new level. I have found more inspiration as I've gotten older and have the career getting the career behind me, that I've affected more lives than I realized. You don't realize it until they come back to you. As they get older and more mature, they realize that you did have an effect, and they come back and tell you thank you, or they come back and tell you something that happened in your room, or those kinds of things. So they just mean so much. All of them mean so much, as the years go by. And I think you really don't appreciate it until you get a little older. You really start to understand it, when you get older. Understanding them helps me understand how to teach them. So you've got to make those connections. You've got to have those relationships, or they're not going to do, many will tell me now, oh, I worked hard to do this. They may have every answer wrong, but they worked hard to get there. So you have to appreciate those small things and, push them to do as hard as they can. And, you've got to make those connections. You've got to make have those relationships with them.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Ballard, congratulations.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so sweet.
It's well deserving.
Thank you. When I graduated from Mississippi State in 2001, I moved to Jackson with my older brother, and I did some volunteer work with the youth offender group. And I was saying to myself, what could I do to prevent other offenders from getting to this point? So I came back home and I started being an assistant teacher at KME. Mr. Simpson was my boss, and I absolutely fell in love with teaching. So I then went back to school at Belhaven University and got certified to become a classroom teacher. There are so many rewards of teaching. One that sticks out the most, I would say, is when I've had former students come back and tell me, you know what, Miss Mallett, you weren't mean. You were just firm. You knew that you wanted the best from us and you were willing to do whatever it takes. I also find a great reward when I can go to a student and say, you know what, I've taught your sister, I've taught your brother, I went to school with your mom. All of those connections, help build a positive environment for learning. My students are my world. I take pride in my students. I take pride in teaching. My students know that I love them. I tell them on a daily basis. But at the same time, some days I do have to give some tough love. They know from day one hard work will pay off. So they know what I expect. They know that we're gonna have to do the work, and they're gonna have to take pride in their work, because I tell them, just like you're a reflection of your parents, you're also a reflection of me. So all of that flows with my instruction, and that's what makes my classroom, my own. I just want to thank Kosciuszko School District for allowing me to become Teacher of the Year. You don't know how much this means to me. And I did not grow weary in doing good, because I do know it's in the Bible that if you do not grow weary in doing good, in due time, you will reap what you sow.
You hear me?
Alright.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'm going to let your class give you a little message, okay? Hang on, let me flip you around. They wanted to tell you that they're thinking about you and your baby, and are very happy for everything that you do for them. And congratulations, it is much well deserved to be our Teacher of the Year.
Ms. Thornton is my favorite teacher because she goes above and beyond for her students. She goes in depth with the lesson, so therefore her students can understand it. And Ms. Thornton loves her students. She makes videos for her students even though she's at home with a baby.
I'm proud to be one of Ms. Thornton's students because she's very nice, she helps my work, and she's very hardworking.
Ms. Thornton, she is my favorite teacher because she always helping me when she don't have to, and she's above and beyond, and that's why she's my favorite teacher.
Ms. Thornton is my favorite teacher because she's a very nice and beautiful lady, and she's always willing to help us at any given moment.
Ms. Thornton is always nice to her students and helps us understand our work.
Ms. Thornton helps me with my homework, and Ms. Thornton, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Alright, I'm going to share a quick story with you about Miss Thornton. She's probably not going to be very happy with me sharing this. She does not like any extra attention, but she's going to get it. One morning, not terribly long ago, before she went out with her new baby, her vehicle was in the parking lot here at like 6:30 in the morning. It's early, super early for a teacher to be here. And she had that day off. And when I saw her leaving, I said, Miss Thornton, what are you doing here? She actually had to leave early the day before. And she didn't feel like she had everything in order to her standard for her sub and her kids the next day. So she showed up at 6 o'clock the next day to get all her ducks in a row. In a nutshell, that explains Miss Thornton and her character, her drive to make her students better every day, and the relationships that she's created with her students. So we could not be any more proud for Miss Thornton to represent the junior high as our Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Miss Thornton.
Keep working or help us surprise our teacher. So you can say which one I did.
Oh, I love y'all. Thank you so much.
Do that. You're today's your you gotta do it.
Did you know about this?
Well, when I finished high school, I had no plans of being a teacher. I was actually a biology major, which is funny. And going into my sophomore year at Mississippi State, I had this very strong and specific feeling that I need to be a high school English teacher. And so I changed my major to secondary English education. And I started taking the classes, and I never thought I was going to do anything else. And so I know after I got closer to finishing at State, I knew it was God's plan for me to be an English teacher, a high school English teacher. And I knew that I wanted to come back to Kosciuszko because I wanted to carry on the Whippet pride that had been instilled in me when I was a student at Kosciuszko. And so I really now, the older I am and looking back, I know that it was God's plan. That's what inspired me. It was God's purpose and plan for me to be a teacher. Probably the most rewarding for me is the relationships with the students, especially after high school. And when you see them at Walmart, at football games, you see them as teachers, as doctors, husbands and wives, moms and dads, and they want to share that with you. They want to share their lives with you. And that's what I love the most. It's just seeing the relationships grow, and then when they grow up to be adults, and you hug them and you see them and they're successful and they're city workers and they're living their lives, and I was a part of that, and that's the most rewarding. My students become my family. I feel like they're my children. I pray for them every day. I tell them I love them. I want good things for them like I do my own children. I share stories about Noah and Grant and Wes and my sisters and my family with them. So I feel like they feel a part of me in my personal life. And I fuss at them sometimes, and I have high expectations, just like I do my own children. So they really do become my family. My relationship with my students is a strength of mine. They know that I care about them, not only in the classroom, but just their personal lives and what they do outside of, English. I think because they know I care and I love them and I want what's best for them, they trust me. And I'm able to set those high expectations and push them and challenge them, and they usually rise to meet those expectations.